mean. I do this for my city, going hard for my team, going hard.
Hey, welcome back to the Skull City Podcast. I'm your boy BTA Rennie, also known as God's Son. Today we got a great show lined up. I have some great guests here today. They're from Rockford here, and they've invested a lot in Rockford. And of course, this podcast is all about Rockford. So I'll start with my guest here on my right. I'll let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Gina Meeks. I am an alderwoman here in the city of Rockford in the 12th Ward, and I am also a singer in a couple of bands, but definitely a local Rockford singer here in the area. Been singing for over 20 years. Won about 3 Grammy Awards here locally in Rockford, along with 2 Jazz Bands of the Year. So very excited about those things that I have, and excited to be a Rockford resident.
Let me reintroduce my guest to my right, Gina, award-winning Gina Meeks, local vocalist, songster extraordinaire. If you haven't had a chance to hear her sing, I encourage you guys all, and she'll tell you a little bit more about her music and where you can find it at.
My name is Demetrius Corbett. I live here in Rockford, and I'm a caregiver by day. And when I'm not doing that, oh man, I have so many little things that I do. For one, I'm a spiritualist. I research spiritual information, esoteric information, basically for a living. It's not completely official. I don't provide any services or anything like that yet, but I will in the future. And I also have been a MC, a person involved with hip hop for the majority of my life. I'm working on a couple projects. I was actually trying to get things done where people can have, be able to go somewhere to find it, but not yet. But by the next podcast, it'll definitely be popping.
Sounds good. So you've been kind of just like, you do a little rap music too, and
Yeah, that's primarily what I do. And I would have had out projects a long time ago, but it's hard around here finding rappers and producers who want to make the type of hip hop that I want to make.
So what kind are you into now?
I hate putting myself in a box, but it's just like more traditionalist, golden era. Some of the things I talk about might be a little conscious, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's definitely a little different than what they hear on the radio.
So not like murder music.
No, no.
So you're kind of like more into hip hop, not so
Yes.
much into the mainstream, because rap now is into like 4 or 5 different categories. You got
Right.
the gangster rap, you got the drill music,
Right.
and you've got the rap that's just really disrespectful kind of rap, but it's not geared towards hurting people, but it's really disrespectful. Then you got the hip hop, and hip hop to me it's a genre all by itself, we should say.
Yeah, and it's just like, for me, like, I love all the hip hop, and I look at it this way: when it comes to me, the things that I say, I have to be true to who I am. I have to be true to my influences, and the people who I was influenced by. They made sure that they was putting out a positive message. Even if it's a little dark sometimes, even if it might be a little gritty sometimes, there was always an underlining message and wisdom in it. And that's what I have to do. When I'm holding my pen, I'm always thinking about how to move somebody in the right way and how to uplift somebody in the right way. You know what I mean? And, I write battle raps and everything too.
Right.
But it's just like, I know that hip hop can be a real powerful movement. It can be a real, it's a culture.
Right.
And then when you use it the right way, you can get a lot of things done.
Right. And certainly reality does truly have a dark side to it. So, to expose the dark side of reality in your music, I think it's a wonderful thing. Gina, you've been singing for about 20 years now, huh?
Yes.
And do you have a particular style or?
What I get a lot is I sound like a songbird. So I have a really soft voice, but I love all different genres.
Okay.
So, I mean, if I had a niche that I had to stand on, it would definitely be jazz music.
Okay. All right.
But I can ease into blues and soul and country and just rock. I mean, I really can go to a lot of different genres. And I enjoy that because I just love music. Whenever it moves me and it
Right.
makes me want to kind of move or just I get that feeling, like it
Music
just-
does that.
Yeah, makes me want to keep going.
It does. It does. Yeah. So myself, I've always wanted to be a singer and musician, but I wasn't given those talents, so I have to use them elsewhere. But I do enjoy all types of music myself as well. Today, I wanted to really kind of focus on country music, and the reason why is because Gina and I had talked previously a little bit about it, and I think that when it comes to our closed society, country music has kind of been given a bad name and it's kind of been frowned upon because I don't think people understand the history behind country music and what country music really is. And I know Gina. She told me she's I can't think of the lady's name now. The singer who did the Texas Hold Beyonce. She's a Beyonce
Did
fan.
you forget
I'm
Beyonce?
sitting there like-
I'm just trying to find. I was like, he couldn't be forgetting Beyonce.
I forgot Beyonce. But I tell you what, I did love the song by her. Is it Texas Hold? Yeah. And you said there's a whole album out about that. Too, right?
Yeah, it's
So-
a whole album.
And I got to get the album. Is it called Texas Hold'em? Was there a different? What's the name?
No, it's called. Oh God, could I do this? Am I doing this right now? Am I forgetting a Beyonce album? Hold on, don't hold me to it because it's right as soon as I pull up my Spotify, it's gonna be right there. And
So being on a podcast has that effect.
Cowboy Carter is the album.
Okay.
So she's got a song on there, a rendition of Blackbird, Paul McCartney, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful song.
gotta get it. I've gotta hear it.
She brought in like 4 different Black female singers that are current country music singers. And they all sing together in beautiful harmony, just like Destiny's Child used to do. And it's just a beautiful song that I happen to have on repeat.
I'll have to check it out. I wonder if Mickey Guyton is on there. So I listen to country music, guys. I do. And Southern soul music is actually, believe it or not, is actually country music. We just call it Southern soul music. So when we go back to the founding of country music, how it all started, and it started with slavery, let's just say that, because the Africans came over, they brought instruments with them, and one of the instruments, I want to call it a gyro, but a gira, but I could be wrong about what it was called, but it resembled a banjo. And so there's a guy by the name of, he wrote a book called, oh my God, I get brain farts all day long, but he talked about the Southern hymns that we sing, the gospel songs, how all that came actually out of the same pain, the same suffering that we were enduring at that time, and that created that genre of music. So what happened was, as time went on, the minstrel shows became popular. Blackface became popular, and they would actually play an instrument similar to the African instrument called the banjo. And they would make fun of the African people or the African American people, and that kind of created that country music that we hear today. We don't know that, but it does. So when we talk about country music, it's deep within us because I don't know if you guys agree with this, but by nature we are rhythmic people. We tend to vibe to sound, to music, and we internalize our struggle and then we reproduce it in sound. Sometimes it's a form of storytelling, sometimes it's in the form of a song. It could even be an instrumental, So I just want to talk a little bit about that and give you an idea where it came from. Gina.
Yes.
So we talked about a little bit about country music and you love Beyonce. So what inspired you to want to become a singer?
Well, I started out just my love for music in band. I started out in 5th grade playing the flute, and I elevated to the piccolo by the time I got to high school. I was first year flute all the way through high school. And then,
What's a piccolo?
okay, so it's just a smaller version of a flute.
Okay, never heard of
And
it.
it's really higher pitched, so it just sounds different. I'm trying to think of a song that a piccolo's on, but I can't really think of one right now.
Okay.
But I started off that way. So I think when it came to singing, it was an easy transition because they're woodwind instruments. So it's a lot of breathing and exercises. So when it came to singing, I was kind of able to transition pretty easily. And I would just sit in my dad's basement and I would sing Beyonce and Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and, Christina Aguilera and all these different artists. And that's where I kind of developed the ability to sing. And then my father, and his name, by the way, is Tommy Meeks, and he is, they call him Mr. Juneteenth because he originated the Juneteenth celebration here in Rockford, Illinois. It'll be 35 years in 2025. Mm-hmm. And he heard me sing on the steps of his basement. And so he thought, let me get this girl out there. Okay. So he started getting me to sing at kind of local nonprofit events. March of Dimes was one of them. And I would just sing there. And that's kind of where I got started, singing on tracks and singing covers. And I've been pretty much doing a lot of covers and cover bands in different genres ever since.
Okay. Oh, wow. So I do know your dad, by the way, Tommy.
You do?
Oh, yeah, I know. Who does know Tommy? If you know anybody in Rockford, you know Tommy. And yeah, I've been a part, I've not to say been a part, but I've been to, I guess, or the Juneteenth that he's had here in Rockford. Mm-hmm. And they've been, really inspiring and wonderful, too.
Thank you.
I did, I think I did a show with Tommy once, too.
I bet you did on Comcast.
We were guests on it.
Yeah.
Me and Tommy together.
He's been doing his show longer than Juneteenth, actually.
Yeah, and I lost it. He gave me the disc, but I lost it, so I don't know where it's at. But Tommy's a great guy, though.
Thank
so now, are you the only person that sings in the family, or is there more singers in your family?
No, I can't really think of any more singers in the family. We have lots of dancers. Okay. And business people and things like that. But I think I'm the only one that kind of went off and said, oh, wait, hold on.
Okay.
How can I forget this? So has anyone ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Big Jim Wright?
Jimmy Wright.
Yeah.
Played for Sounds of Blackness.
Yeah.
Went to, was that Bethesda?
Mm-hmm.
Baptist Church. Big Jim.
My
brother went to school with Jim.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was my dad's cousin. So my second cousin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So absolutely, there are people in my family that do things.
Jimmy was a bad boy. Let me tell you.
I mean, we're talking working with
too,
Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson and Mariah Carey, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a vast history that I could never touch, but it was a blessing to have him in the family, to be able to look to, ask advice to. I mean, it was a wonderful blessing to have him. We lost him many years ago, but so we definitely have people.
I always admired Jimmy. As a kid, I admired Jimmy. He always had a smile. I never saw him, frowned up or disappointed. He always had a smile. He was always laughing. He was always happy. He was just a nice person to really be around.
Yeah.
So and I followed Jimmy throughout his career. And Nesby, I'm really good friends with Ann Nesby as well, and Tim Lee. Yeah. I knew all the. I know I'm not new, but I know them
all.
We got a call coming through.
It happened. We can't let it go now.
I gotta put this thing here on.
You can't cut that out.
No. Hold on. I can't even answer it right now because we're in the middle. But DC, I'm going to put this thing on silence, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about you and how you got started in the industry and
how I got started, like wanting to be an MC and rapping and everything.
Yeah.
As far back as I can remember, like way back in, grade school, I was always leaned towards writing poetry. and all different forms, the limericks and haikus and everything. And I just had a knack for that, and I loved doing it, mostly in school, sometimes by myself. And it was just poetry, for years and years, until around 14, 15. And just like most of us growing up in the 80s and 90s, I was a hip hop head. I used to watch my brother and my cousin break dance and everything when I was a little boy. So I already already felt solidified in the culture. But it's just like, I remember, and I'll never forget it, because it just seems so coming of age story. But it's just like, I remember there being an assembly one day at school. And a lot of the kids that I was around, and some of the older kids, it's just like, I remember them rapping up in the bleachers. Like, they were all the way up there, and they were having a cipher. And I was just listening to them freestyle and everything and rap. And in the back of my mind, I just kept hearing this little voice like, you can do that. You can do that, right? And it was just like, I was like, but it's like later on that day, I was just like, I'm going to try to write a rap.
Yeah.
And at first I was just writing raps and keeping them to myself. And I remember walking home one day with a couple friends, and I was like, I'm going to let them hear this. I'm going to see what everybody thinks. And everybody's reaction was just,
Wow.
yeah. And it was just like, that let me know. I was like, okay, I'm going home and write more raps. I'm going to write more raps.
I love that.
And, it was always real interesting for me growing up, because I'm from Freeport. Mm-hmm. And at the time when I was really trying to find myself and find my identity rhyming, like going into my teen, going into 16, 17, around that age, I started leaning way more towards East Coast rappers, lyrical rappers that were using a lot of jazz samples and everything, the Biggie, like Nas, people like that. And all of my friends were like the direct opposite. They were like Bone, Master P, fast rappers.
So you said you're from Freeport, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So do you know Stephen Mosley?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Josh Booth, Jason Booth?
Yeah.
So that's my start.
That's
for real.
That's crazy.
That's my real start. I've done original music with Josh and Jason and Steven. I knew him as well, and AK Do or Die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy that you mentioned Josh, because he was one of the walking home after school, but he was always
so
there.
funny.
Yeah.
So you two have
mutual friends.
common
You
ground
see
in
what
Freeport,
happened?
huh?
Yeah.
All from Freeport.
Okay. So I do have a fourth guest or third guest to join us, Layla Allen.
Yes.
She is a very inspiring young lady who has a lot to offer. She did a poem once on TikTok.
Yes.
And-
it was referring to my mother. I wrote a poem for my mom for Mother's Day. Me and my mom have a very estranged, kind of on and off relationship. So this is a part in the time in my life where she was not in my life. So I wrote a poem just really discussing how I felt about it.
And she's very talented. So I wanted Layla to come on just to give it an idea. This is Gina Meeks, by the way.
Oh, nice to meet you.
I don't know if you've ever heard her sing, but you'll be in a treat to hear her sing. This is DC.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
He's a hip hop artist, also recording DJ, and Gina's an award-winning singer here. She's won a few of those. What do you call them?
Grammys.
The few Grammy Awards here.
Rockford area
The
music.
Ram Awards, yes.
Industry awards.
So we're gonna be talking about music, and I'm sorry guys, I had to take off, so I kind of lost track of things. But I heard you guys talking about you guys know each other.
Well, I mean, it started off with your love of poetry, and then Layla comes in and she talks about her ability to write poetry. And I remember growing up and writing poetry, and that being, a place of peace for me as well, and
Definitely.
expression and
Exactly.
letting things out. So I think that's so beautiful that you wrote
Yeah.
to be able to write under those circumstances.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we kind of touched on it earlier. We talked about in our particular segment of society, we internalize everything: pain, joy,
Yes.
you
I
name it. We
agree.
internalize it, and we make it into a song, or we make it into a movie or a book.
Right.
That's just what we do,
Yes.
And so we're kind of talking about that a little bit. So, do you have any? I'll say you are aspiring to be a.
Well, I plan on going and getting my bachelor's degree in psychology. I want to minor in also child education. I want to end up building my own LLC full of Black therapists.
Because we need it.
You need it.
Oh yes, yes. I eventually plan on opening up my own business. I mean, maybe in Rockford, but I'm not from Rockford. I'm actually originally from Florida. I was out here from Rockford about past 5-6 years now. So yeah, it's just something I've really been into. I've always been into psychology since I've been little. I took psychology in high school. Sociology. I've always been into all the philosophers and their theories. So yes, it's something I want.
So I don't want to get off track, but that's a wonderful thing that you're talking about, though, because my original podcast that I had started years ago was called the Naked Lunch Club. And with that podcast, I explored the mental health issues in the African American community. I looked at it from a historical point as well as a clinical point. Because when you start talking about our mental health, it's unique. It's collective, but it's unique. So that's a good thing that you're talking about doing, because you're right. It's something we definitely need.
Absolutely.
Especially in Rockford, I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
it's a really big thing that is not talked about enough.
It's not talked about, and there's not enough Black therapists
Not
around.
enough.
If you want to find a therapist that looks like you, that you can have these conversations with and not have to explain so much,
Yes.
I think that's the joy of having a therapist that looks like you, and we don't have nearly enough here in this community as a whole. So anybody talking about bringing therapists here, there are avenues for it with the half-cent mental health tax. There's grants and funding that are out there to really execute this, but we have to find the people willing to do that.
Exactly.
And that's the politician in Gina.
Sorry. It
She's
comes
our-
out.
I'm not a big politician, so
I was thinking that too. I was like, man, that politician came out.
It comes out.
That's okay. So, Leah, do you
I'm
have a favorite?
multifaceted. What can I do?
Do you have a favorite singer?
Currently, I'm really more into like artists that like speak their words through their songs. One of my biggest artists is Fora. I don't know if anyone heard of it. It's Fora with a P. But he's really like, in his songs, he's talking about like he's rapping, but he's telling a story through it. You know, it's like no cuss words, none of that. It's real life stuff that he went through as an individual, as a young child. I like artists that speak their life, their truth through their music. It's big on me. It takes an impact. It really lets you know that you're not alone in this world.
So, Tommy's got a brother named Richard, right?
my
Richard
uncle.
does African storytelling, right?
Yes, he does. Very
So,
well.
so for years, society had been taught that Africans didn't have a writing system, but they had a verbal system where they would tell stories, right?
Right.
It wasn't recently until we found out that the African writing system predates most other writing systems in the world today. But the thing about it is we've always told our stories through our,
Chants, songs,
our
Yes.
dance. We've expressed
dance, expression of dance, yes.
our, feelings, what
That
we go
is, yeah,
through.
that's so beautiful to see someone express themselves through dance, and you actually understand everything that they're saying. Every movement is a word that you process. I think that's so amazing. So
I agree.
amazing.
Yeah. But our main focus today was we're talking about country music. I don't know if you even listen to any kind of country music?
I listened to, I heard Beyonce's little country song she dropped. I mean, I Like,
We don't have to say little.
I mean,
We don't
I
have
to say,
to.
like, I was explaining to him earlier that Beyonce was more of an R&B artist, you know, like back then, you know, Single Ladies dropped and all these certain songs, and you know, she's expressing herself through country. I actually think it is a good song. It's just overplayed, in my opinion.
They have to hear the whole album.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But you
It's
can never
so
overplay that
many
one
more
song, though.
songs.
Texas Hold'em. You
yes.
can never overplay that song.
I mean,
But
it's
you know,
the whole
this
album.
thing I wanted
people.
to say. See, and that's the thing about country music. There's a lot of professional black entertainers that have country roots.
Yes.
But we don't do it because we assume that that's not going to be accepted in our society. When in reality, once again, hey, that's a part of who we are. Right. So you not only got Beyonce who come out with an album, but Nelly did the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard of Nelly, but yeah, Nelly came out with his country version, you know, and so I think that if you look now, there's all kinds of African American, if you want to say country singers popping up. Right. Marcellus the Singer, right. Jeter Jones, Sir Charles, who came to Rockford, was it back in May at
I think I heard that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know if you ever listen to that music, but man, that music is just, you know, what I like about country music is that unlike, let's say, rap music or R&B, I find, to me, country music is more soothing to me. It gives me that feeling of connectedness to my family, to my community, and it makes me want to say, you know, hey, rather than fight each other, let's just have fun, right? Let's get together and let's throw a barbecue on. Let's do a trail ride, you know, and then we can teach our kids too. You know, I argue with people all the time about the history of cowboys, for example. Many people think that Hollywood created the cowboy, and Hollywood didn't do that. No, back during slavery, when you had a slave and you, for example, on a ranch and you needed a cow brought to you, you would say, hey, boy, go and get that cow. Hence that morphed into cowboy. He was known as the cowboy. Everybody else was known as cow hands, because for you and I, DC, society had always minimized us to the realm of a boy. They never wanted to accept our manhood. Mainstream society didn't.
Right.
So anything we did, you know, we were the cart boy, the cowboy, the foot boy, whatever it was. You know, they always had a boy on the end of it, and that's how we came into that term cowboy. And so I tell people, 1 out of 4 cowboys were black. 1 out of 4 cowhands were black. Same with country music. I think country music is an avenue that has been, up until now, sort of, you know, we got our R&B, we got a hip hop, we got a rap, you know, but you know, who's talking about country music? And I think country music, again, this is my opinion, I think country music brings families together, gives an opportunity for men to teach younger men, women to teach younger women. You know, I think it's just, to me, what do you guys think about that? How do you see it? Does it play a role too?
I would say that certain music applies to certain people. Like, everyone has their opinions and differences on what music speaks to them. So like you said, as in your opinion, country music brings families together. I feel like it's more about the words. Like I said, I'm big on words. I'm big on how you expressing yourself through these music. So I don't know. I don't really have like a set definition of which category of music I like. It just really all depends on how the artist is bringing and presenting themselves in this type of song.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Like, I can see where you're coming from, because one thing that I noticed at an early age was, especially like black people from the South, they have no problem with leaning a little bit towards country music. And I also, you know, noticed too about like the whole cowboy thing. It was like the same thing. Like in the South, growing up, like my dad and his you know generation, real big on the cowboy movies and the cowboy TV shows, and it's just like it's embedded in that Southern culture. And I can see why you would be like, it brings families together and it's soothing, because I think for a while, that's all we had, you know, because a lot of things were so sheltered in the South for, you know, my dad's generation. My dad, he's in his 70s, he's like 73. And it's just like for them, you know, when they would turn on the TV, like that's all they saw. And you know what I mean? And it wasn't until like the 60s, 70s when they started leaving the South that they started being exposed to a lot, you know, a lot more,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I think as you know, we're ever evolving. We are a people that's ever evolving. We'll take something as simple as a Pepsi Zero, and we'll turn this into, you know, a whole new genre or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we had, oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
you're
I was
fine.
going to say we had to learn how to be natural alchemists. We have to, black people are, you know, we had to transmute everything.
We're forever adapting. Forever.
Yeah.
You know, just like what you were saying about, you know, things being born out of pain and being born out of struggle. That's just like hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for certain conditions in the inner city, you wouldn't have had a lot of the hip hop music. You know what I mean? People were poor. People were being brutalized by police. People couldn't find jobs. You know, and it, you know, it was just like people started. Okay, I'm gonna hook up these speakers. I'm gonna drag all this equipment up out to the park, and we might not have anything, but at least we gonna have a good time, and we gonna listen to these records.
You know, and hip hop came along, and it actually changed the world.
Oh yeah,
Because you got hip hop everywhere now. Doesn't matter what your race, doesn't matter what country. There's hip hop all over the world. And as a result of hip hop, and now we have breakdance. Breakdance is all over the world now.
that's true.
So, you know, creating those things out of what we go through, would you say, Gina, that that's a really, really important part of being a singer, is, you know, is having that story to tell? Or
Yeah, I mean, in my position, I don't really do too much original music. So I haven't written a poem or a song in, gosh, years, probably 3 or 4 years. But I absolutely think it's important to be able to express yourself and get out whatever it is that you're feeling. And if you have the ability to get it out in song and sing your pain away, then bless you. Please continue to do it. And if you don't, and you still sing anyway,
like
then
me?
bless you. Because we all kind of got to get it out, you know?
You
We
have to
really
get it out,
have to get it out. As much as we hold on to so many things, we have to find whatever way it is, if it's artwork, if it's singing, if it's dance, whatever that creative mechanism is for you, you have to find a way to get it out.
Yeah. Jimi Hendrix once said that music would create new atmospheres, because with music you can at any given time preach into someone's consciousness whatever you desired or whatever you wanted to preach. Music moves, and that's kind of what Jimi Hendrix is saying, you know. And I think you know, if I were going to be a singer, all right, and I do want to be one, but unfortunately I wasn't blessed, I would definitely sing about my personal struggles, my personal issues. Those would be what my music is about. And I think music also, and again, going back to country music, it's a form of therapy, especially for me. I don't know about, but when I hear certain songs and I'm upset sometimes, it soothes me, you know? It gives me an understanding of why things are going on. It helps me understand. And not only that, it gives me an answer to what's going on in my life, you know? And the answer maybe is as plain as, hey, you can hate on me all you want, I'm still going to do me.
Yeah.
You know, it can be that simple, but that's an answer.
Yeah.
And I think, especially artists, I think you guys provide that for us, and we.
I agree.
We need it, you know.
Yeah, I've lifted myself so many times in a song and just been completely down, and then just put on a good song that just changed my whole spirit, and my whole day changes. And I'm that kind of person. My mood can be switched like that.
I think music can switch anybody's mood.
Yeah.
You know? What was that old saying? Music calms a savage beast, or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, but
And it definitely can, because I'm the same way. Like, you know, it's just like I can be in a funk and put on certain type of music, and you know, it's just like that's why I only listen to things that actually speak. You know, just like you were saying, like,
Right.
you know, no matter what the genre is of music that I listen to, it has to have a certain type of spirit to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like,
Let's reach out and connect to you.
yeah. I have to. It has to. You know, have a little spirit to it. You know, it's just like if I'm listening to reggae, it has to be the Rasta reggae. And I don't have anything against dancehall. I don't have anything against the other one, but I want to hear some wisdom. I want to hear some struggle, and it's the same. When I listen to R&B, I usually listen to neo soul because I still like R&B singers to talk about love.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear just about bump and grinding all the time.
What was the greatest R&B song ever written, or greatest R&B love song ever written by Lenny Wilkins? "Cause I Love You." You guys heard that song?
'Cause I love
There you go.
you.
See?
That is the greatest R&B love song ever written. Well, if I could do it like that, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be somewhere in Las Vegas or
I
California.
know that's right.
So,
What you trying to say? Because I'm right here. I'm in Rockford.
No, what I'm saying is this. You see, you've already been there. You've already done those things that I only can dream about.
Oh, I mean,
you're an award-winning, accomplished vocalist.
and for me, it is. I'm not gonna act like I'm not extremely blessed to be in the position that I'm in. I'm able to book gigs and do just a lot of amazing things right here locally in this city, and that is a blessing. But I don't really go outside of this city. I really don't. I mean, Wisconsin is about as far as I've gone. And that's my dream. I want to be able to go to other countries and other places, and California and New York and Tennessee, and, be able to sing and do things like that. So I still got a long journey, I feel, to go.
When I said I would be in Las Vegas, California, it's only because talent such as yours in the city of Rock hasn't been explored enough. I don't think
that they,
stage.
I don't think that I get as much as I'd like to get from this community when it comes to music. Yeah. And this isn't just me. This is so many singers, Black singers in this community that feel like we put out just as much effort as everyone else, but we are restricted to certain places that we're allowed to perform. And it's not really allowed because every now and again they'll let one of us in here or there, and that's great. And it's helpful. But when it really comes down to it, and all of the venues that exist in this community and what you see for, who's coming and who's singing, we don't get half of the shots that many people that are white and, And
we're just as talented as anybody else is, And so I call this podcast Skull City Podcast. Skull City means let's go. Skull is an acronym but a term for me, which means let's go. So I call Rockford the Let's Go City because I think Rockford is loaded with awesome talent. That's just,
loaded. And if we as a people helped, encourage that talent versus what we kind of typically do in this city, which is try to keep people down a little bit. Gatekeep, you know what I mean? Like, know what I'm saying? Like, we do this to each other, and then we watch it happen to our own people. And we don't do anything about it. We just kind of allow it to happen. And I don't want to point blame. I really don't, because there's no room for that. But we do kind of have to recognize that is what's happening.
It is.
In this community.
It definitely is.
That's the reason Skull City exists today, because I want to change that.
Yeah.
I want to change that narrative to where you got all these guys coming out of these big cities saying, "Ooh, there's talent in Rockford, man." Rockford's got his own sound, because I think Rockford has its own sound. I think Rockford is unique in its own talents. And so we had like Fred Van Fleet and James Robinson, these guys coming out of Rockford, those are athletes, right?
Right.
But we got Gina Meeks, I mean, come on.
And I just, I'm sorry.
no.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when you were talking about those issues and then you said gatekeepers, like, I've been talking about that just as far as the rap scenes around here for the last couple of years. Like, one thing I realized was there's little cliques here.
Oh
There's these
man,
little cliques.
Man.
Rockford should be Rockford Clicks.
It's
Yeah.
it's like high school all over again.
Oh, it
Everybody like not trying to put anybody on.
Yeah.
Like if you're
Yeah.
not fam, then you
Right.
lame.
And,
Like
and
it's-
can I just point out, like, I didn't grow up here.
Okay,
I did not. So I feel you on
Did
being
not
from
grow up
somewhere
here.
else. I grew up from the South. I
And
came
just
from the
being an
South
outsider,
suburbs.
looking out like on the outside perspective, you're just noticing all these things. Like
So you just kind of watch, and it's like, dang, why can't I be? I don't understand, and it's just kind of crazy. But there
Yes.
are
Yeah,
cliques.
they
It's
pick and
cliques.
choose who they do their hair to, who
Yeah.
they do good hair on, who they do good lashes on, who they do good nails on, and it's just like if you don't have the popularity to back that up, then who are you? And it's like
or the money. If you can pay for it, you can go
money.
anywhere.
Exactly.
But, I think as a foundation for all of that, if we go back to, you guys heard of the what's called the crab barrel mentality?
Yeah.
Where crabs, but what people fail to realize is that why crabs do that. You see, crabs are never designed to be put in a barrel.
Yeah. in the
Right.
first
So once they get in that barrel, they freak out. And then they go into what's called survival mode.
Yep.
99% of our young men never go through the proper socialization, but instead they go through survival mode as early as the 7th grade.
Yep.
They jump into survival mode. So they really don't have a chance to explore society and life as it is,
Right.
right? They're in this closed system. But, New York's got Beyonce, I guess. She's from New York, right? Or where's
Yeah.
she from?
Well, I mean, she's from Texas.
Texas, okay. But we got Gina, though.
Yeah.
To me, she's just as talented and just as good as
and,
Beyonce.
and I mean, I'm gonna say we have Michelle. I'm gonna say that we have
Michelle Williams.
Michelle Williams.
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna throw out Cheap Trick. We have a lot of things,
yeah.
and a lot of people from Rockford that really.
Police from Chicago. The band
I don't.
Police.
I don't think
I
they're
they
from
were-
Rockford.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going
I
to
think
say, I
they're
think they were from
But
Chicago.
still, though, that's close enough.
Oh, right.
There's
You know?
more. Yeah, there's so many more.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's just what I also just want to point out is that if we could get into the mentality of cultivating things versus trying to keep people down like we were
Yes.
talking about, then we probably have a whole lot more coming out of this
Yes.
city.
I agree with you 100%. And that's why
That's
she's
true.
our alderman, because she's got it. But seriously,
You got to
though,
reelect me if you want me to stay, though.
If I was in your ward, I'll tell you right now, you got my vote.
thank
Period.
you.
End of the story. I thought about running again, by the way, but I'm not sure if I think I'm more concentrated on trying to uplift the city as a whole.
Yeah.
To see talented people, even our youth. When I call you youth, even though
I'm only 20. I am.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want to say, like, how old
I
are
am 20
you?
years old. I actually
Probably 11 or
have,
So
12.
knowledgeable.
I have a 1-year-old son. Actually, I
Oh,
became a mom 1 year
beautiful.
ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
this is what our future is going to be like. These are our leaders. So if we don't start uplifting them now,
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll be dead and gone.
That's where
you
I
know.
felt like with the whole psychology situation, me wanting to start my LLC, I always said it starts with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
It always starts with the kids,
Yeah.
but I also wanted to be from kids all the way up to adults, because there are adults that sit here and compartmentalize and sit here and we don't want to talk about their triggers because they feel like there aren't any triggers. And it's like,
Yeah, we used to have a stigma with mental health, and I'm trying so hard to stay away from that. But maybe everything
no,
happens for a reason.
let's talk
Right.
about
Yeah.
it.
But
I'm laughing when people say, I don't have any triggers.
Yes, like, come on, be real. It's okay to be human and understand that there are certain things about yourself that trigger you because of what you went through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
So-
years ago, there was this stigma attached to mental illness. If you had a mental illness, then we kind of pushed you in the corner and called your
Yeah.
name. And you think about, I know her name, but I can never think of her name. But the movie, they call For Colored Girls, right? That movie was actually based on a play written by, I can't think of I know her name, I just never could pronounce it. But it was called For Colored Girls Who Think of Committing Suicide When the Rainbow Isn't Enough. And that's what it's actually based upon. And the four caricatures in that represented the different struggles that African American women were going through at that time. There was sexual abuse in the family that we pushed under the table. There was domestic abuse from the husband that we sort of accepted,
Trauma.
Drama, yeah,
You can keep going because
Yeah.
this
There
is
was-
what we don't talk about.
Our black women
Yes.
were being raped, and we didn't want to talk about that. You know? We thought it was everybody else's problem, and we didn't want it to be ours. And as a result of that, now we're walking around here as damaged people who can't connect to
The
each
easily angered
Correct.
black woman. That's what we are named, and the title that we are put on ourselves. We are just easily angered. We get we don't take no crap from nobody. As we get older and evolve as people are really starting to call us bitter, angry, and it's like, yeah, but you guys let so much stuff go on to us when we were, not being able to have a voice, not being able to talk about these certain things. And now you're mad that we're not standing for that. Like, you're upset with us.
That's exactly how I feel in this moment. I feel like, and I'm not calling myself an angry black woman, but there are days where I
am
feel like that.
I am in fact easily angered.
I am too, especially lately, because I
Lately,
feel
yes.
like I have gone on for so long feeling, in a sense, unprotected.
Yep, not creating certain boundaries for yourself, and then you realize,
Absolutely
like,
not.
man, I should have set these boundaries a
A long time ago. And now I'm pissed.
Yes.
Because I'm like, dang.
let so much
wish
slide.
Yeah, I
Yes.
let so much slide. Now I don't let anything go.
Yes.
And that's what makes it look like I'm angry.
Yes,
but I'm
like
just,
I'm the
these are what
villain.
my boundaries look
Now,
like.
Right.
on the counter side of that, as a black male, I have to be conscious of my blackness every day. I can't step on an elevator with a white lady because she'll clutch her purse, and it still happens today.
Yes.
But you
definitely
can.
Yeah, I can, but
You can.
But the underlining, trauma that it presents to me as a man, I have to. So if I'm passionate about something, I'm titled the angry black man.
Yeah.
I'm not considered passionate.
Yeah.
So I have to be
Ditto.
conscious of that everywhere I go, and that can take a toll on you after a while, even in the workplace.
I agree.
Yeah, you start to it's like you start to
sorry.
start silencing yourself, or it's like it's like one thing I noticed as I got older, the reason I used to get into so much trouble when I was younger is at a lot of moments I wouldn't shrink myself in certain environments.
Yeah.
And it's
for
just
you.
like that, being especially, growing up in Freeport, small town,
Yeah.
being a big kid, it's just like people already have this apprehension of you. Especially when you present yourself in a way that they can't put you in some type of box.
Right.
And put you, I started growing my dreads early. When I started growing my locks, nobody in Freeport really had locks except
Ooh,
for
that's the original.
You notice things like no one was doing this before me. Like, no one.
I started growing them like way back in it was like 98. So everybody in the town that had locks, I knew them personally or they were in my family. So it was just like there was already eyes on me always. You know what I mean? And then, I was always labeled as the pro-black kid. I was always the pro-black kid with the locks. I was wearing...
Just because of the locks?
Oh, no. Early on, being such a hip-hop head, I gravitated towards the Nation of Islam early. I can remember having debates in school, like freshman year, 8th grade sometime, I gravitated towards Farrakhan. I gravitated towards certain ideologies that were like, those were red flags to teachers in small towns, you know what I mean? And I didn't know how many little barriers that was putting up until I got older and I started looking back and I was like, oh, that's why I wasn't getting jobs as easy as the other kids. Like, and I'm talking about the kids that were, selling drugs or jumping on their mama or doing all of these real dark things. They were accepted more in my small town because that's what everybody expected for us to be doing anyway.
Oh,
Right.
Lord.
But with
So-
me, it was looked at as almost worse being the intelligent, spiritual black kid
Proud,
that,
confident.
that leans towards pro-blackness.
Like,
that
they be like,
was
what's wrong with him?
Yeah, that was a big
That's so
no-no.
crazy, but that is so like what happens in this.
It's
community.
reality every day.
It's
Right.
very
But
much.
I do want you two to know in particular that there are black men who will protect you, who will stand up for you, who will make sure.
I have one on my team currently. Yes.
There
Shout
you
out.
go.
Shout out.
So
that.
there you go. So they exist. They're here. Okay. So I don't want you guys to feel like, you know, we just gotta, you know, and that's what this again is about: is us coming together and connecting.
Yeah.
I met Gina. I was walking out of a store, you know, and I don't know what happened. I don't know how we started talking.
It was literally just like
yeah.
a look, and then
Then we just
it was my cousin who I was with. My cousin, shout out
Okay.
to Gabby Vega. She's I like to call her a famous artist here in this community. She's from Rockford.
what does she do now?
She's an artist still. She
sing?
she does not sing. She is a literal.
She's an artist.
She draws. She had
I need to get in touch with
exhibits
Gabby.
at Rockford Public Library recently.
Okay.
She does portraits here in the community. She's amazing. She is absolutely amazing.
Tell her we want her on the show to talk about art.
She will
Shout out Gabby
absolutely
Vega.
shout out Gabby Vega. Look her up. She's amazing. But she said something, and then she always does this my cousin, she's an alderman, or this my cousin, she's a singer, and I think she did something like that.
Yeah, I think I came out of the story. I think I was singing a song. I think. Anyway, but it was sort of magic.
But Beyonce came up.
Right, the Beyonce.
That's what I did. And once that came up, I think you actually said something like it wasn't that you didn't like it that much or something, and then I had to kind of stop the press.
I
Oh
said,
wow! So that's why you felt that way when I started talking about Beyonce.
I'll be ready to go.
No, I think I asked you if you listen to Southern soul music.
Yes.
Or country music. And
Country.
then
You
brought
asked me about
Beyonce.
country. Yeah.
And then I remember I said, oh, Beyonce, because I couldn't think at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But that song, guys, I sing it driving down the street all the time. I'm not ashamed.
But I had to tell him, I was like, I was in a whole country band at one point. 3 years I was in a country band. Outlaw country is what they
Was that
labeled
here
it.
in Rockford? Or, okay.
And I joined on, so it was a band that had been performing. Name was Long Shot. They had been performing for years. 2 twin brothers and then a best friend had got together. A guitar player, drummer, bass. And they had wrote original songs and just been performing for a while. And he was a friend of my dad, and he saw me at a show when I was in a different band and asked me to just come and sing just a couple of songs for a gig. And then I wound up staying for 3 years,
Wow.
learning all of their songs, singing some originals, and it was a wonderful time. I really enjoyed myself.
Which reminds me, guys, we was talking about music. We got off on some other stuff, but that's okay though, because that's what we do. Sitting around the dinner table, we'll start talking about football. Next thing you know, we're talking about police brutality. That's what we do. But you know, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but Gina was going to give us just a little bit of what she does. She's got one song that she sang, and I heard it, and it was originally sang by
Etta James.
Etta James, which, as far as I'm concerned, she sings it better than Etta James. But I don't know if that's what she's gonna do.
You do them. You can't do that to a person.
Well,
You can't do that.
if you got it, you just got it. And I'm gonna tell you,
I don't know
Rockford's
if I
got
could
it.
sing that song though.
No, wait. Is it like the Etta James that last?
Yeah,
I love that
you,
song.
you don't,
I
you
like
have to
that
sing
song,
that one, but just give us a little taste. And guys, one of the things that I talked to Gina about, and I don't know if I talked to you about it, but I'd like to create or promote a local concert soon too, featuring Gina and some of the other local talent, and you, and you know. So that's some things we'll discuss later on, and I definitely want to keep in touch with you though. I don't want you to fade away from me because
No.
you and I think we could work together.
I feel like this could be a whole podcast that we could do every week.
Right.
Right. That's how
I
it
love
looks.
you. I love you. I love you. I think this is the thing.
Yep.
because of
For real.
because of the work I do now, I can only do it every other week because I'm on call on weekends now.
Yes.
But I would love to do this every week.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. So, do you feel like giving us just a little taste?
I don't mind.
Okay.
Are we doing Etta James?
Whatever you want, and you know what? I can actually pull up an instrumental on
Yes.
this if you want me to,
That'd be
so you can sing to it. You just give me
I
the
mean,
song.
I'm open to that.
So let's do Etta James.
That's
He's
fine.
looking at her like, okay, is that okay?
Is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah.
You know what? I take that back. This is the other wrong iPad. Let me put
So
up
let
on
me
mine.
say. So I had this one song. I just want to kind of.
Oh,
But I haven't sang it in a really long time. If you go on YouTube and you just YouTube Gina Meeks, I've got a playlist of all of my songs, right?
Okay.
And so this one is one that I did at NPR along with Long Shot. And I picked this one because it was kind of the only country music song that I had.
Okay. I thought At Last, My Love, that's not country?
Is
Let me
it?
back
No,
up
it's
and
more
see.
like a R&B.
It's a ballad.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a ballad.
It's
Yeah.
a long.
And I mean like, because we could do like, at last, my love has come along. See, the problem is when you sing songs like that, you have like to get permission to sing it. So I feel like I'm going to get sued when I'm on here.
Well, no, you only get sued is if you want to make money off of it.
Okay,
Once
so
it
we're not
becomes
making no
public-
money.
Once it becomes public, then it's open to the public. You just
Okay.
can't resell it.
Okay.
That's all. But you
Okay.
can sing it all day
Okay.
long. So
And
you
then,
wanna get that for you?
yeah, yeah. But the one that I had, it was like,
Okay, what's
it was
yours?
called "Follow Me, Boys." I don't remember the title of the song, but it was a country song, and it was on NPR live sessions from Studio A, and so I just want to say a little bit because it's really like, I don't know. This is the only country song I have.
You
Okay,
know
I
what?
will
You don't
still
have to
sing.
do country unless you want to. By the way.
I don't know. I feel like I want to do so many things. I feel like I just want to take recommendations right now.
Okay, that's
Tell me what you
fine.
want me to sing. What you want me to
Yes.
sing later?
I want to hear Etta James at last, of course.
Okay.
But I also want to hear your song, your country song.
So it goes like this.
Okay.
On my first day, they say you don't belong. But what they don't know is that just made me strong. If you tell me I can't, then I'll show you I can. Since I was born, I've been raising sand. When I get down, you know that I do. These are the words to help pull me through. When it gets tough and you've had enough, don't let up, don't look down. You're stronger than you know, even when you're low, never let go, keep coming around. And then there's more,
That was
but
good.
Oh wait, that was not the one I thought it was going to be.
it's like
But
magic.
that was beautiful.
Yeah, there we go.
But I love it. I love that one because it really, the whole song just kind of talks about, you know, being a woman and being in a man's space. And, you know, I appreciate so many men, but I also appreciate my women.
Okay.
And I feel like when I'm in space with women and there's a womanhood, there's just this mutual understanding. Just
Yes.
like you feel
Right.
when you're around a black person, you just have this understanding that's unsaid.
Yes.
And this song really just talks about, you know, not feeling like you belong, but taking that energy
Yeah.
and making you even stronger and
Yes.
never letting somebody knock you out of that place, always being able to pick back up
Right.
and
that's,
keep moving.
You know, that's what I love about black women. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm not ashamed to say it, black women have always and will always be my hero. Always.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, right?
No, I'm totally, black women are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Their education, when they learn something,
It's quick.
We retain it.
Retain.
it's with a, but
Quick.
it's with finesse, it's with style. They outclass men to me. Now, I don't consider myself to be dumb by a long shot. I think I'm pretty intelligent. But the women that's around me, they outclass me when it comes to that intelligence.
But we help
I know
each
how
other.
you feel.
It's
We
about
help,
building
yeah,
each
we
other.
help
Yeah,
each
you know.
other. There are levels where you help us
Yeah.
get to this spot, and then we
Yes.
help you, and that's how we build
Yes.
together.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, just being around,
Yeah.
you know, inspiring women, black women, that encourages me. That does build me, you know. And so I'm the kind of guy, you know what, I don't have to be in front of the camera. I can be in the background.
Yeah.
let me do the hard work, because it's all about lifting you up at that point. And so, yeah, I have to just let you guys know that you've always been and you always will be my hero. So call me,
Much
We appreciate
appreciated.
it.
call me one of those if you want to, but I'm not.
No. I feel the same way. Like, that's real.
Yeah. I had a great mom. My mom was very, very strong. She was just like the song you just said. You can't tell her she couldn't do anything, because if you said she couldn't do it, guess what?
Exactly.
She did it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
One thing I will never take away from my mom is she was a single mom with 3 kids, and she
Yeah.
made it happen.
Yeah. I mean, if we think about it, and we're going to be wrapping up, but black women, you guys have always dug down deeper and I have to go back to this, because, guys, I'm a historian, by the way, okay? So history is my thing.
Right.
But it's this time during slavery, though, that the black woman really stepped up, because she told the black man. She cooked his food. She wouldn't got that animal and dug out the stuff that nobody would eat just to give him nourishment. And then when he was ready to attack, she said, no, don't do it yet. Well, just wait, your time will come.
That was that wisdom.
Yes.
That was that wisdom
Yes.
to know.
They kept us together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I even add on to that. It's just like, before we got over here, so many of us came from matriarchal societies.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Since the most ancient forms of divinity were women.
Yes.
That notion of this, I don't mean to ruffle no feathers or nothing, but it's just
You're
like
not ruffling
I was
mine.
gonna say, like, that the notion of a God creating life, that came much later in humanity's.
As a male,
Yeah, like that
Right.
came much later in humanity's journey. But the first God, your first idea of a deity was a woman. Because
They don't
you
wanna
could
talk
see
about
right
that.
there, and you can see right there in the physical world that this woman is bringing life. You know what I mean?
And if you ever
Literally.
saw the image,
Literally.
That song by Ariana Grande, "Woman Is a God." Come on.
yeah. Well, if you saw those ancient images of the Venus god, the hot knots,
Yes.
they projected her as a god, and so the female origin of humanity or life itself has always been an intricate part of our existence, and it still is to this day. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a female. I'm sorry.
That's
about
right.
Exactly. Tupac. He was big on that.
Yeah. And so, guys, listen, man, it's been great. BTA Rennie, also known as God's Son. This is Skull City Podcast. I've enjoyed my guests. I have Alea here with us.
Layla.
Layla, I'm sorry, I always get her name wrong.
You can reach me on my socials on TikTok at No Label Lay. Yes. Shout out Skull City.
And we got my man DC.
Yes, and you can just reach me on Facebook as of right now, Demetrius Corbett.
And we have the fabulous Gina Meeks. You gotta give it up for Gina, guys. You gotta give it up for Gina.
And you can find me also on Facebook. You can find the band Groove Hotel Music. Just you can literally find me on the City of Rockford website as well if you need me to help you with something.
Oh, I will definitely need your help. So, yeah. So, Skull City Podcast will also be on YouTube. This show will probably air within the next week. So, tune in and enjoy, like, and subscribe.
I said I do this.